Okay, so I've got we're gonna talk a bit about Band of Brothers, which is
Hell
probably
yeah.
to me it's the greatest miniseries of all time. You can argue that, I suppose, but I think you would lose. It's required viewing, like, and this is one of those things where I've watched it with my kids, did the Pacific as well, but it's it starts a conversation that can go on for the rest of your life. It brings to them something they would never otherwise see or understand. And like with my older boy, it was like just a after that, it was nothing. He was looking into all of these people, all of these battles, stuff that he never would have learned about, and getting to see the brotherhood between these men and what they would do for each other is not something you can really experience anywhere else. And given today, with everything is so narcissistic and me first, and I want to get what I can and get credit for something. It's to be able to see that it's something that watch with your kids, and if you don't have kids yet, if you have a nephew, especially, maybe like girls, I guess, can watch it. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But
No girls allowed.
no girls allowed. No girls. They can watch it as long as they shut the fuck up, right?
Yes, please, for
Yeah.
a second.
Yeah. So it's, or if your neighbor has a kid, maybe ask first, but
Yikes. Maybe don't
force
do
them
that.
to watch this fucking show because it's just that good. It's like, so you guys have all seen it, I hope.
Oh,
Zags.
dude, it was. Oh,
Sorry,
go ahead.
what did you think of Ross? Ross from Friends being in it. That's the only thing that I didn't enjoy. It's a fantastic series, especially the episode set in the snow in the forest. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was. I got some clips from that one actually, so I'm going to show. But yeah, Ross from Friends. He so him and I think it was Captain Dyke. Those are two guys who were portrayed as being kind of pussies on the show, and Dyke especially had to be relieved of command. But in real life, I guess they weren't actually that bad. I guess Dyke actually had won some medals, but they had to, for the show's reasons, they had to have internal conflict there. And I guess Ross, although I can't remember his name, why I don't know that one. Now he's just Ross. So he was like above average in terms of being a soldier, but not a great leader and not a great thinker. So yeah.
Well, you also saw that in Generation Kill, there was a lieutenant that they literally called Captain America, because he was always like, rah rah, fucking go get him, like kill that dog because that dog is an enemy spy. Like everything was just, like he was always on some sort of drug that was just way too motivational. And for a lot of times that can be unrealistic. So yeah, you tend to have those in every story, whether it's real or fake. But yeah, that kind of was something I saw that was similar between Band of Brothers and Generation Kill. But yeah, no, this was like required watching. Like Band of Brothers was required material for us to watch in the Marine Corps, because there are studies that people have done with some of the battles, and we would do tactical discussions on what each one of these different battles meant, how they had the tactical advantage, how to lead. So it's an incredible show that portrays a lot of that stuff.
And this is I'm just cycling through some of the photos of the actors and the real life soldiers who served, and
That's cool.
Yeah, and what's cool is a lot of them got to meet. And
that's rad.
And they brought all the surviving members of Easy Company back to be a part of the filming and the final episode when they go to the Eagle's Nest. And it's really cool to see how close the actors and the soldiers they portrayed got throughout making this series, and their families are apparently still close today, from what I've been able to find and read. It's really has bonded them together. And I guess I could have skipped the beginning part, but yeah, they're Easy Company is an airborne unit of the Army, and they were the paratroopers, and they were dropping on enemy lines, and they got paid an extra $50 a month, I think, was their hazard pay they got. Yeah, so that's not a ton, but and one of the lines that Captain Winters says in it was that a lot of these guys picked that because not for the money, but because they knew the guys that were fighting beside were going to be well trained and some of the best. So okay. So yeah, they did a good job of casting, I thought, and the actors bonded during the production, and then they bonded with the people they're portraying. And yeah, so have you seen this Flaccid series?
Actually, I have not. I always want to start it, and I've seen parts of it, but every time I'm about to sit down and watch it, something else always pops up for me to watch, and I'm so late to it. I feel like I should just never watch it now.
Oh man.
Oh, dude, what's wrong with you?
Fine, we can all spank me. Fine.
There are shows and series like that though that I've been like, man, I've gone this long without watching it. I just won't watch it now.
I think I can watch it now. I remember when there's a huge hype around it, just like how with The Sopranos, everyone just loved it, and like The Wire, people just like, it's so good. I'm like, okay, it cannot be that good. I'm just not gonna watch it. But yeah, now I think I have to probably watch it because me and my wife are running out of shows because nothing good is coming out. So
yeah, nothing good is coming out, but it holds up too. I've just watched it recently again, and
okay.
it's worth watching for sure. It holds up.
I was going to ask you guys, where would you rather fight in the campaign? Would you rather be on the Pacific or European theater? Get a pick.
Oof. Both were nasty, bro.
That's difficult, man. Jesus.
Maybe the European campaign, just because I don't do well in water. Well, not in water, but like I get really seasick. So amphibious assaults might be a little rough. I'd be throwing up before I even
bread and
got
butter
on
there,
land.
brother.
I know exactly. Like when I got in the Marine Corps and like all your sergeant instructors and your officers are telling you like the Marine Corps are fucking amphibious warriors, and I'm like, man, I throw up every time I step on a boat. So this is going to be interesting. I love swimming. I'm really good at swimming and surfing, but that's the Californian in me. So, the island hopping campaign would have been badass though. It would have been brutal.
You've got the humidity, haven't you, Max? The heat and the humidity in the Pacific. That kind of conditions, the wet.
Very true,
man. That'd drive me crazy. I mean, I live in Japan, so.
Yeah.
It's European theater pretty much throughout the chat here, and I would agree with that too. No.
Yeah. You also get to see some history on your way up there, right? If you go through Italy, right? Like the way the Allied forces, if at least they moved in like through North Africa into Italy, just imagine the architecture and history you can just watch. Maybe you're crumbling parts of it, but at least you get to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Shield Wall brings up a great point. Japanese were freaking brutal, bro. Like they didn't follow any type of rules of war whatsoever. There was no rules of engagement or like any treaties. It was just nope.
Yeah.
Nothing. They play to win, baby.
Yeah. They were like they were just trying to get that W any way they could, but still didn't.
Yeah. And,
if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right?
I mean, it's war, right? But
yeah, right.
Yeah. I don't know. They get kind of a pass to me historically, to an extent, I think, as well, based on some of the stuff that happened. It's not really talked about. Not that the German stuff shouldn't be talked about, but we could maybe talk about them both. I'd be okay with that. I've got there's a couple of characters I want to spotlight and people I want to spotlight from the show that I find to be good examples. And there's one that's leadership, which is Winters. I've got a clip from him. This is from I believe the first episode, maybe the second episode of the show, talking to Buck Compton, who is a sergeant, about being a leader.
Are you ticked because they like me? Because I'm spending time to get to know my soldiers? I mean, come on. You've been with these guys for what, 2 years? I've been here for 6 days. We're gambling, Buck. So what? Soldiers do that. I don't deserve a reprimand for it. What if you'd won? What? What if you'd won? Never put yourself in a position where you can take from these men.
That made his career, didn't it? That series, Zach's. Is it Damian Lewis? Is that right?
That's
After
right,
that,
yeah.
he was suddenly everywhere.
Yeah, he did Homeland. That was a good show while he was on it. I didn't really watch it after he left, but
No.
it could have still been good.
That was actually a pretty real conversation that one of my captains had to kind of sit down with me about, because I enjoyed getting to know my young guys. But there's the term fraternization, which can, a lot of, like, if there's a young Marine who doesn't like you, he can claim that you're fraternizing with the other Marines, and then you get in really big trouble as an officer. So, that was like, those are serious conversations that you have to have. And it's like a fine line, right? Because you want to be with them, you want to impart wisdom and leadership, but also want to be kind of like an older brother to them. But that's where that might cross that line, because you can't be too close, and that's what sucks. And, Flaccid would shit on me because he'd be like, "Oh, the officers get to eat in the nice chow hall." And like, we're like, we don't want to fucking eat over here. We want to eat with our guys, but they won't let us because, it's fraternization. So it's a fun
I would
line.
like to be in the packed 50 barrocks with you guys, but I just got to be in my hotel room where it's 2 to or 1 to 10. We all have queen size.
No,
Yeah.
no. I would love. I would stay in my hotel room every single time. But chow hall, I'd love to be with you guys.
Now, the one way to maintain your strength, I think, as any leadership position, and especially with an officer, is actually just making good decisions, which isn't easy, but making good decisions and always knowing, like being very knowledgeable about things. It doesn't matter everything else. You could be nice and everything and even be really a hard ass, but if you don't do those two things, you'll lose respect out of these people. Because I know there's been times where I've lost like friendships, whatever you want to call it, in shops when I'm running things. But as long as I was on top of everything and they knew I was making things run smoothly, they knew it was like, okay, well, at the end of the day, I have to go to him to get things done. So, I mean, it's like one of those, what is it, 48 rules of power kind of thing. So, I've heard that book.
That's a great point.
Yeah. There's some good comments in the chat here too. Yeah, a lot of people like Damian Lewis. There's lots of his fans in their chat. Yeah, and so Thad was talking about a show called Life, which I do remember too, which didn't get enough, I don't think, of a chance to get going. But Jordan Peterson, yeah.
Jordan Peterson has a lot of great things about leadership and masculine roles. Yeah, he's got some incredible talks.
Yep, he does.
Well, hey, I was going to ask, Zaxxon, great. Does this make you, when you watch these series, does it make you want to be American? When you see these badass Americans just like fucking kick ass in the world? We like land on the moon, shit like that. I'm just curious.
Gray, what do you think?
Have you still got a hard ass? Placid, I'm just curious. I heard it was quite soft now. Is that right?
Ooh. Dimply?
Well, it depends what time of the day it is for you.
You know what? I think one of the things that's funny, at least speaking from someone from Canada, is nobody hates Americans like Americans. Like we like Americans as much as people may think that people don't. We do, and yeah, I'd be cool with being an American. Absolutely, it's you guys who hate yourselves, not us.
Yeah,
Japanese love Americans now, especially after they were conquered and they took over pretty much. Americana is really big. It's still big in Japan. So yeah.
Wow. Whereas, the comic book industry is trying to adapt Japanese ways of culture. You know what I mean, and how they're doing things. So, it's interesting, but yeah, no one hates America more like Americans. Like Americans despise living here, and yet they get everything they could want. Like they wouldn't want to move anywhere else, God forbid, because they know that they have it so nice here.
That's more of a modern malaise, isn't it, Max? It feels like, yeah. Because I don't know. I thought everyone hated the UK, the Brits. The Brits are the ultimate enemy, aren't they? As far as I know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they were for a while.
The red shirts are coming. The red shirts are coming. 1776.
On that note, guys,
baby.
have you seen The Pacific? I know
Yes.
Band of Brothers is amazing. I didn't think that was as good. The Pacific. What did you think, that series?
I liked it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't live up to Band of Brothers, but I would have loved it to have that same weight. Because it is more of a brutal setting. I mean, even chat was like, I'd much rather be on the European tour. There's no way I'd want to be in the Pacific. But
and that's John Basilone, right? He was one of
yeah,
the
buddy.
characters in that. Yeah, that dude.
What a Chad. What a Chad.
I've got a another one from this is the actual Winters, and I'll play this. This is his one of his interviews before he passed.
I cherish the memories of a question my grandson asked me the other day when he said, "Grandpa, were you a hero in the war?" Grandpa said no. But I served in a company of heroes.
Yeah.
Those are always heavy to watch. The real guys talk about it.
Yeah, the last episode especially. There's that whole baseball game. There's another episode where they're all in a church, and as the scene's going on, the people are disappearing from the pews. The people who aren't going to come back. So that's a heavy scene, and the interview and they still have that emotion with them after. So that's to me real leadership. And there's an episode, the final episode, they're sent on a second patrol, even though they shouldn't have to go again. They're about to be pulled back, and he makes the call to tell them to basically fake it. And that is also a type of leadership, really, where he trusts his men to the point where he could tell them to do that. And he knows if any of them goes and says anything to anyone else about any of that, he's fucked. But he knows them well enough to know, I'm going to give this to you guys, and you do with it what you want. I know, Nathan, I had to play that clip. Well, so one of the other, this is so Gray was talking about the Battle of the Bulge, and so this is a scene from that, and this just shows you, like, this was shot in a soundstage, and I want to show this because it's an amazing scene, but also because compared to what we're doing now with like Kenobi and everything's and the Thor and the volume, this was done on a soundstage, but it looks like this.
Damn.
Great, but Gray's got to go. So I'm gonna let him. What you up to, Gray?
Nothing much. Not really got anything planned. Just gonna chill out this weekend. Looking forward to starting the holidays. But Zax, it's been fantastic. Thanks for having me on. Really good conversations by everyone, and great to hear Nick Weiser talk about metal. You know, man, he loves it, doesn't he? And he's so knowledgeable.
Yeah, and it was great having you on. I'm glad to have you back. And even though it's only for 3 more weeks, which is disappointing, here teachers take a lot more time off than that.
Oh, really? I wasn't sure. I thought that was a myth.
3 months.
Yeah. Yeah. But thank you so much for being here, Gray. Love you.
Yeah, I love you
too,
Gray.
Max.
Great
Great to see
brother.
you again, Max. And Dawn of the Phoenix. I was in Dawn of the Phoenix. I love you, brother. You take care. I miss you too.
Have a great vacation, dude. Take all the time off you want. So that's going to be great.
Hopefully going to hit the beach later on today. It's lunchtime here. Mrs. Wakizashi is waiting to make some ramen, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, catch you all later. Yeah, take it easy.
Later, brother.
All right, I got a couple more things I want to go through here, and we'll wrap her up.
I was gonna say that one clip of that guy, he's crying about something or other, but he wasn't acknowledging his white privilege. Can we just take a second to acknowledge this?
Yeah. Can
you
had lots of white privilege.
Well,
But
and
this is
male
why you have to make your
privilege.
kids watch this stuff. You have to show them this.
Yeah, man. Because if my kid ever was like, "Dad, check your privilege," I'd be like, "Okay, we're watching Band of Brothers right fucking now."
Yeah.
Like, that's unreal.
I had a conversation with my kid after watching it, and I said, like, of your friends, who could you see that would be able to go into a situation like that and be okay? And he's like, none of them.
Yeah.
Not one. And yeah, and he, like, his friends are jockish kids, and they're just, but no, they're way softer than these guys. But speaking of hard guys, yeah, this is Ronald Spears. He's a fucking Chad, and I want to play this clip of his run. If you watch the show, you know what you're gonna see, but you're gonna like to watch it anyway. And Flaccid, maybe cover your eyes. I don't know.
I'm covering something.
All right.
Pull back! If we don't connect with eye, they're gonna slip away! That's right, wait here! Item EV6! What the hell? I'll stick you back in!
At first, the Germans didn't shoot at it. I think they couldn't quite believe what they were seeing. But that wasn't the really astounding thing. The astounding thing was that after he hooked up with I Company, he came back.
And that's been confirmed. That's been confirmed by multiple people that that's actually what happened.
The fact that he just said, "Oh, bet I can run back too," you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's just ultimate Chad move for sure.
Just imagine you can isolate that adrenaline rush he's having right there, and just that like everything is going in his. I would just love to experience it for like 3 seconds, then be gone from it, because it has to be this weird adrenaline, just pure focus with just a little bit of the fear of like I could get shot at any moment. I'm dead.
Yeah.
Or I would love to see maybe what he was maybe even thinking that, you know, maybe he was just thinking like literally get here and get under cover. But dude, I couldn't imagine being in that situation.
And
Well, yeah, I mean,
no, go Max, go.
like they even said, like if you're the Germans, you're like watching this guy like run by, and you're almost like, this motherfucker has like he's past our line of like defense. Like, or should we start like? It's just incredible. Like it's unthinkable, which is why they weren't shooting at first, because they were like, "Yo, what is even going on?" So,
yeah, that's what I was actually going to say, Max. Because you have to think this can't be happening. Like that can't be right. There's no way somebody would do this, and no. He did it, and here's another Spears moment I like.
Mighty P Company takes a shot at the next gun! All yours! Let's go, Dog Company! Up and at us, P Company! Go, Chase! Who is that, Spears? What's he doing out of the trench? Oh, what the hell is he doing? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Did he get a lot of guys killed who were following him over there? Yep, he did. It looked like, but I mean, he took the guns, and those guns were 88s firing on the Omaha Beach, I believe, and they were just destroying the American landing forces. And so what those guys did there made a huge difference in people surviving up the beach. So,
yeah, that's wild, dude. We actually did a study in one of our we have something called the basic school, which is for just basic platoon commander skills and leadership like abilities and stuff like that. And one of the classes that we took, it's like a 6-month course, and one of the classes that you have to take is basically on leadership and tactics. And we had watched that scene, but they also had a diagram of where each one of those positions were located and how they got from position to position. And we did like a whole in-depth study of like, how would you do this? How would you take out some of these what would be the right move here? Like it was so in depth and really interesting. I can't remember all of it, but yeah, that scene is very notorious for a lot of Marine Corps officers like going through like just kind of breaking it down.
Well, and the use of the airborne is such a, like, I think it started at the very end of World War One, and then this was sort of perfecting it to an extent, although there was a lot of it was trial and error. But they were dropping with bikes and things like that out of like these bikes they would try to assemble on the ground, but of course they couldn't see what they were doing. They didn't know where they were. They didn't know who they were with. It was yeah, so it was but this was something the Germans weren't expecting, even though they were trying to use it too, but it didn't work as well for them for whatever reason. And then so the other one is the last guy I want to talk about is Buck Compton, because they covered the PTSD issue, which I thought was, for the time, progressive, I suppose, because it wasn't talked about as much, but it is now. But this was 2000, I think this came out 2001, and so still it was starting to come around as a topic and a concern. But they showed it in this, and this is Buck Compton's there's a couple clips of him having a bad day. So that's terrifying, right? 5 minutes.
Jesus, dude.
That's like from a video game, you'd think. And this was minutes later.
1 o'clock! Grenade! Die! Let's go! Get out of there! Get out of there! Die! Go!
Yeah.
It's it's something that you don't really think about until you actually watch it. But even when you watch it, you still will have no comprehension of what that must have actually still felt like. Like if you see some dude's barrel looking at you and it jams and yours jams and it's like, oh my God, like the type of adrenaline, like you were saying, Flaccid, earlier about like that dude's run and everything, like I just can't even imagine. So
yeah, and so throughout the series, Buck he's kind of the comic relief for most of it, in that he tries to keep the men somewhat jovial and upbeat, but by the end he's the one, after seeing not what happens to him, although he's shot, he gets a Silver Star, he has his moments like this. It wasn't what happened to him, it's what he saw happen to others that eventually pushed him over the edge, and this is a piece of that.
Medic!
Luz, how's Buck?
He's fine.
You sure?
Yes, he's fine. You should probably go talk to him now, huh?
Some say Buck changed after he was shot in Holland. Maybe. But I know something happened to him when he saw Toy and Garnier on the ground.
And so that was it. He got shipped out with trench foot after that, is what the excuse they used. But
yeah,
I mean, I can understand that like sentiment. I'll never be able to understand that feeling, of course, but I can understand what the toll it must have had emotionally, physically, mentally, to see that. You can have stuff done to you, but seeing that being done to someone else is like, it's sometimes even more difficult.
And no one's immune to that. You can be chipped away at no matter who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and even he gets sent out with trench foot, like you said, and you need to get him out of there, because if he can't be of sound mind, the whole body that which he's basically controlling, which is that platoon, is endangered, and then the mission's in danger, right? So it all trickles down from there. So it's he's just a human. He's trying to do his best, but it's the mission first.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that was the best decision they made for in that scenario. He's unfit to lead at that point, unfortunately. Not of his own, weakness or anything, just because he's human.
Yeah, and so one more quick, and then we'll wrap it up. This is more of it's kind of lighthearted, although it's kind of dark. But this is, I think, one of these is Max, and I'm not gonna tell you which one it is.
Jesus Christ! Fucking Jeep jockey.
Are you a Jeep jockey, Max?
Oh, no. I did very well in my shooting qualifications. Thank you very much.
Yeah.